I have an official apology that I need to give to the Sims team, because last week I made a video playing my All Collections challenge and basically claimed that the new pack Enchanted by Nature, along with its look and forage system, doesn't actually do much for the things that you are able to find, the collections that you are able to find in the game. Turns out I just didn't explore enough. We did travel to Salvadorada, which is another world in The Sims 4, obviously that came with Jungle Adventure, and didn't really seem to find any collectibles to do with Salvadorada there. So today I figured I would show you every single world in the game and kind of forage with the look system and just see if look and the foraging system does have an effect on the things that you can find, and if it does work well in all the different worlds that came with all the other packs. Now, a lot of that video was held in both Ravenwood and the new world of Innisgreen, because we were kind of like hopping back and forth. Ravenwood is actually where we reside in this save file. Obviously, Innisgreen is the new one. We did, I think, also go to a couple of the base game worlds, but we're starting off in the very first world. This is Willow Creek. Now, you can forage anywhere, and we do have our natural living skill up to the point where we can forage for everything. We can forage for collectibles, food, plants, and apothecary ingredients. So we are going to forage for collectibles maybe like a good 5 times over. I'm expecting in a base game world we are gonna get the same sort of things that we found in the last video, which predominantly were frogs. The My Sims characters, you don't actually find those actually in their, there we go, we just maxed out the natural living skill, but they don't spawn in their like time capsules. They actually just spawn as the characters themselves, so you kind of can easily tell when you have one of the My Sims characters. Clean up very quickly in wadable water. Sleeping on the ground has even greater chance to restore some balance. Eating harvestable foods now satisfied a large amount of hunger. Okay, that is absolutely great. Lower chances of getting fear of the dark simply from being outdoors at night, and fear of swimming from minor swimming incidents. What we have found so far, we did actually get a magic bean. We have very good luck today. We also found Lindsay, who is one of the My Sims dolls. We were finding, you know, just like some crystals, some metals, another My Sim character in Goth Boy. We got the flirty magic bean. So obviously luck is having an effect. These magic beans are honestly, I feel like sometimes quite difficult to find. And we were also getting an awful lot of Void Critter cards. So base game is kind of very, very similar to what we are already getting. We are actually going to go and travel to Sylvan Glade though. Obviously this is a secret lot in the world of Willow Creek, and I kind of just want to know if you're likely to find the same things. Sunator, who is the little piggy from Void Critters. I don't know why I keep not remembering the word Void Critters. Volanton, which is actually an element. That is one of the first elements I think we have found. Vulpes, another Void Critter. Dr. F, a My Sims statue. And finally, a flirty magic bean. So very, very similar. I'm assuming that Oasis Springs is also gonna have the same type of vibe. So we're not gonna spend too long here. We are just gonna go to the Desert Bloom Park, and then we are of course gonna go to the Forgotten Grotto. It would be cool if in the Forgotten Grotto there was just like way more of a chance of you actually finding crystals and metals, because it is like such a like mining area, and I think that definitely would make sense for the kind of place that you were in. Campos, who's a Void Critter. We're gonna have completed the Void Critter collection, which is wild. The pre Simhead, which I'm fairly sure is a fossil. diamond. So we're already seem to be finding more like fossils and crystals and metals in Oasis Springs, which is quite interesting. It does seem that there is a little bit of difference maybe between the things that you can find in Willow Creek and Oasis Springs. That was more kind of like My Sims characters, Void Critter cards, whereas this one is more like natural elements such as the metals, the crystals, the elements. Because Willow Creek, I guess, is like more suburbia, you know, more like, I guess you imagine like kids playing out and about because it's not the middle of the desert. Gold! Oh my goodness gracious me. We just finished our metals. Gold was the only metal that I was missing, and we just flipping managed to find it. Thank goodness gracious for that. Oh my god, I could kiss it. Thank you so much. We also have 16 out of the 20 void critters, which is wild to even think about, because before I recorded last week's video, we had absolutely 0 void critters to our name. I mean, I guess we'll do Newcrest, but this desperately just feels like an extension of Willow Creek, so I definitely don't think there's gonna be anything too interesting over here. Tobor, which is again another My Sims character, another frog, Babalus, which is a void critter card, and another dirt frog. Not as many magic beans. Ooh, we got one of the cow plant horns, which we're gonna get rid of because that actually brings down our look. I'm also not gonna do Magnolia Promenade because that just feels like it would be exactly the same. There weren't really any collectibles that you could find. I honestly don't even think there were any new collectibles added in Windenburg. It really feels like the collections are more of like a recent addition. I feel like nowadays they try to add at least 1 or 2 collections into every new, like, at least expansion pack that we get, whereas in the older packs they never really seem to focus on collectibles all that much. They would like add stuff on. Mind you, I say that, but I guess San Myshuno does have its own set of collectibles, but that makes sense because, you know, it's a city. It's about going out and like exploring the city, whereas Get Together wasn't really about like exploring outside. It was more getting to know people and, you know, exploring the club system. A void critter card, of course, a little wispy woo, a My Sims doll, Artcorn, which is another void critter card, playful magic bean. Okay, so the magic beans, the plant sim beans, are making a return in Windenburg, and then another frog. Oh my god, and another cow plant horn. Get out of here. I do not need this negative energy in my life. Now, San Myshuno is definitely gonna be interesting. We could technically just go to the park because obviously I know there are like grassy areas out and about. I feel as if the map misrepresents San Myshuno. Like, I swear this map shows off that there's way more grass when there definitely isn't. They probably didn't just want it all looking concrete. We are gonna go to the arts quarter. Now, you can only forage on like dirt, sand, or grassy areas. So I have said in my early access, like, it is going to be interesting for those of you who want to try and forage in San Myshuno. Like I said, we could have just gone to the park to make this easy for us. Okay, there are like grassy areas, but you can't actually reach them because they are like planters. And of course, cannot forage on this ground, try grass, dirt, or sand. So this is interesting. We also can't like walk onto these areas. Like, you can click this little like wood chip, but you aren't able to forage there. So this is actually extremely difficult, and you can't go on any of the grassy bits. We may actually just need to go to the park. Of course, in City Living, in San Myshuno, there are a couple of collections that you can get, which are the snow globes. Now, I actually have all of these. I did shoot a little bit, and I basically bought all of these at the flea market one day. Luckily, a seller was selling a bunch of these, and I managed to finish my collection because these kind of glitch out a little bit in my game. The cardboard boxes that you can get these from don't really spawn around my version of San Myshuno all that often. However, I don't think I have completed the city posters. We have 10 out of 15, so we are missing 5. Usually, or sometimes, I guess, you can collect the posters from here. Again, a lot of the time it does say that the posters have already been snatched, so it will be interesting to like travel over to the park and actually see if we have more of a chance of getting those posters and the snow globes, considering they are the specific ones that are linked to the world of San Myshuno. Right now, it only seems like we're getting the stuff that we have, in fact, already had. Which, like, I guess if you think about it logically, like, posters, unless there's, like, a time capsule buried under here, a poster would just, like, rot underground. But it would have been nice to see. Okay, there we go. There's one city poster. So we did just have to do a few more than we have been doing in the other worlds. So it doesn't really seem like it's too overpowered. Like, you're not pulling a San Myshuno collectible every single time you forage. But it is possible to get the posters. We actually got What's Next, which is a brand new one. We also did get a snow globe. Ooh, a second snow globe. I don't know why some of them don't come up in the new category. I swear, I'm gonna have a whole video about the UI soon, so don't you worry. That is coming. Nice. Okay, so see, this is why I wanted to give a formal apology to the Sims team, because I definitely judged this far too quickly, and I do want to apologize for that. I want to hold my hands up where I got things wrong. Next up, Forgotten Grotto, which is the world that we got in Vampires. A very small world, and honestly, I don't really think there was a lot of collectibles anyway that you could get in Vampires. It didn't have like its own household collection that was introduced in this pack. I'm fairly sure it was just like a couple of fish, such as the batfish, a couple of like gardening assets, such as obviously garlic and plasma that you could get from Vampires. So wouldn't be shocked if we actually don't see any of those. A ghostly gnome. Okay, that's quite fun. There is our one plasma fruit. So you are able to get a couple of like plasma fruit, which is quite nice. And then some sage, you know, maybe you want to cleanse the air from those vampires. I mean, I would be out here using garlic for that. Honestly, no problem with vampires in my house. We eat garlic in almost every single meal. Next up, we have cats and dogs, of course, Brindleton Bay. The feathers is actually a collection that you can get in cats and dogs, so this will be interesting. Usually, you have to wait for like cats to kind of attack birds, and if you have a cat on your lot, you will get feathers that pop up, and then you can collect or like open those feathers, and it will give you like 2 to 3 feathers. Once you've actually completed the collection, once you have every single feather, you can actually make a 6M owl, which is pretty cool. One of my favorite collectibles in the game, because you can kind of make this like really cool model that I guess you could cheat and like buy and debug, but I like that there's kind of an end goal to it. And they also just actually make really cool pieces of decoration, especially for Sims who maybe do like to bird watch. Hey, there we go. We did in fact get one pigeon feather by foraging for collectibles, but again, just like the city living posters, they don't actually seem to be like quite, I say that, I just got 3 in a row. I was about to say they're not quite as simple to get. We've already got a repeat of the heron feathers. These ones don't actually have a rarity, which is interesting because there was definitely a couple of feathers that I was struggling to get when I was doing the collection. Okay, maybe this is a little OP for the collectibles challenge. I'm gonna have to swallow my pride and say that I sorely judged this. Vivacious green. Wonder what this street smells like. There's a reason this world is based on LA. Now, Get Famous, I actually don't think there were any collectibles in Del Sol. On that note, guessing it's going to be the exact same as the base game worlds. I kind of wish they had done autographs as a collection in Get Famous of like iconic Sims from the Sims franchise. I just think that would have been really, really fun. We got ourselves a diamond, a frog, some gold. Again, with the gold, you love to see it. DJ Candy. What is Plumbobus? I do not know. Oh, it's just an element. And a sad magic bean. There aren't really any particular collectibles that you can find in Strangerville, so honestly, I'm not even gonna go to Strangerville. Sulani is an interesting one because there are two collectibles that you can find in Sulani. One of them is obviously buried treasure, which you can already like dig in Sulani, and the other is seashells. However, with the buried treasure, I think you can also like deep dive for collectibles. I don't know if there's only ones that you can find by deep diving in like the dive spots available in the world, or if you can find them actually all in the sand. I have obviously already completed the seashells. I have one more buried treasure to go. I'm missing one uncommon variant of the Fingers of Sulani, which is absolutely wild. I'm fairly sure you can actually just get these from beachcombing and combing for seashells. Oh, you can't queue up the beachcomb, annoying. But of course, what I was talking about over here, you need to purchase like the diving gear. I have a diving knife. I also have a rebreather and the treasure tool. That is the one that you need to be able to free dive for treasure. And then you can also free dive for seashells if you are still missing seashells. Ooh, apparently we have bad luck today. So we have in fact just found one seashell whilst beachcombing. But interesting that luck also does affect the beachcombing, which kind of does just show that this is like basically the same animation as foraging. Again, we got another seashell, no treasure, and that might honestly be from the bad luck. So let's attempt to forage for collectibles. Oh, there's a second one. The rest have been void critter cards and frogs, a couple of metals here or there. We did actually get an Eye of Sulani, so you can find some of the treasures. It's just unfortunately not the treasure that we needed. I just really, really quickly want to see if free diving is also affected by our luck. May have a feeling that bad luck might have been a factor in getting the heart of Sulani. So I guess it is affected by luck, but I don't really feel like the luck system plays too much of a role. I guess an increased chance of like finding rubbish, and therefore it just makes it feel like it wasn't really worth your time to forage. But apart from that, I feel like it doesn't really affect you all that much. I also feel like good luck doesn't give you like multiples or give you more than just one reward, where technically I think it should. And I do feel like it was doing that in early access. Glimmerbrook is going to be interesting. We're first going to do it in like regular Glimmerbrook, then we are going to travel actually through the portal and actually head over to the magic realm. I kind of want to see if we can get like brooms and stuff. I have a feeling that we won't be able to, but I really hope we can, because that is actually one of the biggest collections in this game, and it is going to be hell for me to find, because the only way, if foraging doesn't work to find these, actually going to the, I was about to say Ragic Realm. I sounded like Scooby-Doo. The Ragic Realm. And checking out the shop every single day once it's actually updated, which is just going to be hell. Magical artifacts. We have 15 out of 26, but look at how many repeats there are. Was foraging in the dark? Eloise touching something slimy? Nah, absolutely get out of here. Forager's Dread, I do not want you. All we've got so far is a frog. I mean, I guess that was brought on by our bad luck. Honestly, always the way. I talk about something not doing anything, not having much of an effect in the game. We got a wand! Oh my word, this is incredible. Okay, so yeah, we got some romantium. Oh my god, go away. Why does this keep happening? Just give me the wands and the brooms, it's all I need. We are actually only getting the wooden wand, but I feel like that's probably a knock-on effect of the bad luck, because I feel like the wooden wand is probably one of the least rare items that you can possibly get. Currently not a wand or broom in sight in the magic realm. I just need to keep on talking. I actually just need to yap, because every time I open my mouth, the game is like, I'm gonna prove you wrong. You just stated that as a true fact, and that was, in fact, not the truth, Ellen. But definitely not a frequent occurrence whatsoever. Like, it's actually kind of difficult to find the magic collectibles, which is a little annoying. We got a bone wand, finally, a new one to my collection. The Wand of the Forgotten. Okay. Oh, and the fact that we got that with the little Wand of Astral Creation. Oh my god. Oh my. Yeah, yeah, they're definitely just like not very frequent whatsoever. Like, absolutely screw a wand or a broom. Like, why have we not seen any wands whatsoever? I'm a little bit scared of my manifestation powers right now. Besties, should I buy a lottery ticket this week? I think I may actually, there's a broom, buy a lottery ticket. One of the elementals. Ooh, it'll be interesting to see how many of these we actually have got. We're on 15 out of 20, and since talking about them, we are on 18 out of 26. Okay, so we've only gone up by 3, but still, it says 5. But we got the Magician's Wand, one of the elementals. Oh, I think we already had a couple, so these are like, I guess, like secondary versions of them, which is why they're not counted. Wand of Astral Creation, Bone Wand, and Wand of the Forgotten. Brightchester, again, I don't really think there's any specific collectibles to Discover University. Maybe you could get the robotic, like, salvage parts a little bit more for building your robots, but I'm not all that fussed in that. I feel like I should show you guys just in case. Absolutely not a super green world. We're gonna have to go to like basically someone's back garden. Hey, Lilith and Angela Pleasant. Cannot forage on this ground. Bro, it is grass. What do you mean? I guess it's not a collectible though, is it? So I shouldn't be foraging for collectibles. I should just be doing forage here. Bell pepper, potato, apple, bird of paradise plant. What? The whole plant? Surely not. Surely that was just a bird of paradise. We are back being emotionally void, by the way, which they said they do have a fix coming for ailments, and they won't happen quite as frequently as they are happening right now. That is from when you find the freezer bunny whilst foraging. Evergreen Harbor, even though it was kind of about like saving the environment and stuff, surprisingly, unlike Sulani, doesn't actually have, I don't think, any collectibles in it, so I am just gonna skip this one. Also, I guess if you're using the dumpster from Evergreen from Eco Lifestyle, then that ups your chances of finding collectibles anyway. Mount Komorebi, now there are actually the spirits that you can find, I'm fairly sure, as a collection. I think they're a collection. I feel like I may potentially already have all of them. Or maybe they're not an official collection, but I was like, I still want to challenge myself to get all of them. Yeah, they actually are on their own. You can get them by encountering the spirits whilst like on little hikes through Mount Komorebi. Getting an awful lot of harvestables, things that you can grow in your garden. Not gonna lie, I got so sidetracked by the spirits that I forgot there was an official collectible in Snowy Escape, and it is of course the Simmies. There we go, we got the Pit Beast Simmy. Oh, 2 of those. I do wonder if you could maybe get the gold ones. I think we have pretty good luck right now. I don't know why they aren't listed as new, probably because I already have them, so they're probably being just like added to the stack of them that I have in our inventory already. I just need to know if they're gold. I think it would say golden if they were, even though we have pretty good luck today. Yeah, we got 3 pit beasts, so those ones defo weren't gold. If you found a gold simmy from foraging, definitely let me know. Envid on Bagley, now of course, they do have the cottage living festivals that you can take part in, and the festival medals are probably the biggest collection. You have to get 3rd, 2nd, and 1st place in all of them, and also the participation trophies, which is why it's absolutely about to be the worst household collection for me to try to complete, because we have to enter every single one and then it's just like random RNG as to where you place. I currently have 2 out of 9 and then 6 of the bonus items because I do have a fair few of the participation. I have 2 1st place, 1 2nd place, and 2 3rd place. So there's going to be plenty of overlap. If I can find these as a collectible, I might actually cry tears of joy. Otherwise, you only really have the mushrooms, I think, that are available, but they're technically like a harvestable. And we already have all of them because those are quite easy to find. Go on. Give me a prize ribbon. I know you want to. Oh no, it doesn't seem like prize ribbons are something that you can actually receive as a collectible in this world. That said rose gold. If that had said like rosette, I would have been so happy. Not one singular ribbon has been found. Just a bunch of all the stuff that we talked about in all the other worlds, you know, void critters, my sims, metals, crystals. Moving on to Tartosa, my wedding stories. Obviously the biggest collection, maybe the only collection that you can get from Tartosa is in fact the message in bottles, which I do actually already have all of these. We are just gonna travel to the lounge. Now, again, you can basically go in, I'm fairly sure these spawn in dig piles along the coastline. Let's do a bunch of forage for collectibles just like on the grass, and then we'll move down to the beach and see maybe if changing the location in this specific world does actually have an effect on what you can find. Boom! First forage for a collectible over here on the grass gave us a message in a bottle. We got a lover's grudge. And my sim, a striped leaf frog, another message in the bottle, moonlight musings. You can get your message in bottles not from being on the beach, which is quite nice. You just have to visit any area of Tartosa, be on any terrain that you can actually forage for, and then forage for collectibles. Now, Moonwood Mill could be quite interesting because you mainly have to be a werewolf to do this. I think you can find the relics without being a werewolf. I think you can actually fish for these, is what someone commented on my last video that I made about my collections. And it's also so easy to forage for collectibles in this world because so much of it is just like natural terrain. Goth Boy, so another My Sims character, striped leaf frog, which kind of does make sense because I think werewolves, can they actually wolf down frogs? I might be making that up. Another My Sims character. Oh my god, Goth Boy, he is haunting my dreams. There we go, tamed cowplant skull, which is in fact a Moonwood Mill relic. So that definitely means that you can have your human sims basically find the relics way easier than they've ever kind of been able to do, which is nice. Mind you, I say that, we've only found one of the relics so far. Everything else has been all the other collectibles that we are already used to seeing. High school years, I don't think we had any specific collections, so I'm just gonna ignore Popperdale. San Sequoia, I also feel like we didn't get any new collectibles of San Sequoia, so I'm gonna ignore any world that we don't really have collectibles in. I'm now gonna start to ignore because we are definitely noticing a trend. If a world doesn't have collectibles, you're just gonna find like all the stuff that you are used to seeing in like the base game worlds, accounts. And then if they do have collectibles, you have obviously a chance of finding those collectibles in the world. There are actually 2 collections that are actually quite difficult. You've got the marble collection and you have the tassels. Marbles are actually slightly easier because you can purchase marbles online and they do, I think, rotate, but they also might not. Whereas tassels, sometimes again you can find them in the night market, but you specifically have to go to like the cave to be able to find them, or like dig on the beaches of Tomarang, because there are a couple of like dig piles that can spawn on the beaches. But now instead, this was actually what I tested someone's comment on when they first commented on my video. They were like, there is actually a way more increased rate of finding the world collectibles in the world that they are made. I came straight to Sulani because we all know that Salvadorada did me dirty in that first video that I recorded, and I actually almost completed my tassel collection, I'm fairly sure. For marbles, I am 1 off. I have 14 out of 15 and I completed my tassels. So sorry to those of you who have been watching my streams and have been seeing me suffer doing that collection. Good thing is you never have to see me do it again. Or maybe you will, because I kind of want the top. Again, like the feathers and the 6-sim owl, once you've actually finished the tassel collection, you can actually craft your own top from it, and then it's like available in EnglishSimmer. I can't remember if that actually uses all of the tassels that you have in your inventory, or if you get to keep the tassels and then the top just is available to you in EnglishSimmer. But you can combine the tassels. I'm just not gonna do it yet because I don't want to waste them all. I'm an idiot. I literally, before recording this video, deleted so many of the tassels when I'm like, I should have kept them because then I could have used. But there we go. We are finding a bunch of marbles. We haven't found a tassel yet. The tassels still seem to be a little bit rarer than the marbles, which I like. I like that it doesn't make it too easy. I mean, to be honest, forage here for collectibles is way easier than you spending an awful lot of time in that cave over in Tomarang to find all of the tassels. So I like that you still have the challenge if you don't want to use forage here for collectibles, but if you do want to bypass it, then you now can. With Love Struck, we obviously got the axolotls, which is actually quite nice because I feel like a couple of people have been having trouble with the axolotl logs spawning. Keep in mind, you do have to either like actively be playing in the neighborhood, or you have to like travel to it and then hang around there for a little bit for those to actually pop up. If you are just visiting and expecting to see one straight away, it's probably not going to be there. But if you do have Enchanted by Nature, I am very much on the train of thought that you will be able to forage for some collectibles and find those little axolotls. There we go. There's a little albino one and a pink firefly axolotl, and then also a bunch of frogs. Nordhaven will be interesting because obviously they have bike parts, and of course you can fish for bike parts, but I want to see if you're actually able to forage for those bike parts. It's trying to tell me that this isn't grass. Is it okay? That's going to be annoying because this world is actually quite concrete based. So let's go try. Oh my god, it's literally just telling me that absolutely none of it is grass. This is so weird. That is grass. What do you mean? Oh, I found one patch over here that is forageable. It's this one random patch near this little house. Absolutely no bike parts from Nordhaven, and I forage for collectibles a lot, so I'm assuming you can still actually only fish for those. Real quickly though, we are going to set up a couple of vacations because I do want to see the vacation worlds. I obviously want to go to Granite Falls, see if we can maybe find the insects underground. And of course, I do kind of want to retest Selvadorada. I want to actually travel to the jungle and see if we can find any of the buried treasure. And then honestly, maybe even Batu. Now, of course, insects, usually you can find them floating around over here, but let's go try forage for collectibles a couple of times and see if we can kind of just come across them this way. That would honestly be a little bit OP because it depends on the time of day that you actually look for insects, so they can be a little hit or miss. If you look up a guide, they're quite easy to find. If you just want to do it like without actually looking at a guide, they're definitely a little bit more difficult. Okay, there we go. We already got a fire ant, which is of course an insect, so you can find insects by foraging for collectibles in the world of Granite Falls, and it doesn't really feel like you need to be anywhere in particular. I'm not too sure where the fire ants actually spawn, if they do spawn in this area, because I know some of them only like spawn in certain areas of like the deep woods, etc. We got a monarch butterfly too, along with the blue morpho butterfly and an awful lot of frogs. Who said Taylor Swift and her private jet weren't relatable? We completed the Void Critter collection. Now, I did actually test Selvadorada in my last video, and I don't think we got any of like the buried treasures, the Selvadoradian treasures. The last one was Simgaia that we were looking for when it came to the Void Critters. In Selvadorada, we are actually looking for the Amiscan treasures, which are actually the ones that you find in treasure chests, like actually throughout the temple that you can do. And then I have finished the second one, which is the ancient Amiscan artifacts, which are ones that you can find and then uncover on the table. I kind of was expecting those to be a collectible that you could in fact just find by foraging, because you can actually just like survey dig piles in Selvadorada to be able to find those. Again, you do have to go through the extra step of like uncovering them on a table, but like I would assume that you could just find their base version by foraging, but it definitely doesn't seem to be the case in Selvadorada. But real quickly, let's go actually into the jungle to see if that affects anything. We're finding an awful lot of frogs and once again more void critters, but nothing that ties to Selvadorada much. I don't know where that even came from. I don't know if that was in the like big old lot of stuff that we got, unless maybe we got that from like one of the options of going through a gate, which I think you can potentially find them from that, like if you retrieve a bag or something, because I have been using our like athletic and our gardening skill and our logic skill to like retrieve items. We have a new sunburst gold frog, so that came from somewhere. We did get this like a find of apothecary ingredients. I don't think that that would have been included in it. We can't go on a vacation there, but what we can do is head to the teleportation stone in Everdew, and then we can hopefully take ourselves up to Sixum just to see if they also have forage available. Hopefully I remember correctly, and I do have one fairy dust. Yes, I do. We are going to travel to Sixum, considering we have already been everywhere else. This is our last stop. I think because most of this is rocky, we actually, unfortunately, aren't gonna be able to forage, which is slightly irritating because it is quite difficult to be able to like find everything that you are actually able to collect on Sixum. Just because there's so many like winding pathways, I just find it difficult to like get yourself around and make sure that you've actually like clicked on everything and acquired everything. Last, and certainly in a lot of people's opinions at least, we are gonna go to Batu. Fairly sure we're not even gonna be able to forage here, but we may as well test it, specifically for me, who needs an awful lot of this stuff and is gonna be gutted if we can't find anywhere to forage. But from my memory, no, I guess if we go to the rebel space, I can't remember what they actually call them, the resistance encampment, then there is actually dirt and stuff. Fingers crossed we can forage and we can find lightsaber parts. I will literally kiss my screen if this is a thing that can happen. If there is an easier way to find lightsaber parts, I will shit my pants right here on video, where it shall live in all its eternity on the void of YouTube. I don't know why it said that some items were removed, but I don't get. They said actually there's some items removed and that item is foraging. We don't allow foraging in this world. I'm leaving. Goodbye. I am out of here. It was so nice knowing you all. I really, really hope that I saved after completing the Void Critter collection. I don't know if I did, but even if I didn't, that was worth it. Cheeky little rage quit from Batu. I'll take that as a win of a Sims video. But thank you all so much for tuning in. This was actually super fun for me, kind of just to explore. But I need to go because I gotta edit this bad boy real quick. I hope this video was helpful. I appreciate you. If you want me to do any more findings or looking into things of like any specific pack, especially when it comes to Enchanted by Nature, let me know in the comments down below and I will speak to you all in my next one. Bye now.